Hi, my name is Terry Lee from Sweet Pea Papers, and this is the first page in the page-by-page collaboration that I'm doing with Kyung Shotwell and her YouTube channel, because she's going to do a video every Friday as well until we get the signature done, is Kyung Shotwell. And I will put a link, of course, under the video in the text file. So what we're going to do is we're going to each make a 5-page signature, which is or 5 paper folded in half signature, so that's going to be 20 pages. And every week on Friday we're going to release a new video. And this first week I picked what element or theme or whatever is going to be on the page. We don't know what each other's going to do, so we won't see it until the video comes out, which I think is going to be fun. And then when we get the signatures done, I'm going to send her mine and she's going to send me hers. So this sounds like a fun thing for me. And so like I said, this is week 1, so it's page 1. So this is what you're going to need, this stuff, to make the first page. Now, I know it looks like a lot, but it isn't a lot. This week's collaboration / challenge is an altered paper clip. And this first week, I selected what we were going to do. So next week, Kyung will select what we're going to do. And so this is what you're going to need. Now, this is a surprise. This is a surprise for Kyung. This is actually her kit that she made, that she has in her shop, which is Wonders by Wink. And it's called Sunflower To-Do Kit, I believe is what it's called. There's actually some to-do pages and for a weekly journal that you would keep, like to-do lists, and it has the little squares and different things. And these are the writing pages that go with it. And so you're going to need 1 signature backing page or paper, 2 pages from the kit that have writing lines on them for writing cards that we're going to make. And the writing cards you're going to need to print on both sides. Oh, look, I need to retrim that. Well, we're going to trim them down to make them into cards anyway, so it'll be all right. I just have to remember. I'm going to trim them down. Right. Let me finish telling you what we need. Okay, and then there's some ephemera, of course, that comes with the kit. So I'm using these 2 card-sized pieces of ephemera to make my altered paper clip. And then you're going to need a piece of white scrap paper. You're going to need some, I use Fabri-Tac for everything, but for our altered paper clip, we're going to use art glitter glue. Okay? It is a little bit more, I don't know, the word is grabby. Let's just call it that. It dries quicker, and hopefully we will be able to get everything done within the video, get it all dried. So you're going to need a paper clip, obviously, and you're going to need ink. Or if you're going to ink your pages and cards and ephemera and stuff. Oh, I was going to do those ahead of time. I forgot. But I haven't decided what I'm going to use because of the colors in this. I want to use a brown, but I don't want it to overtake, you know what I mean, the colors and the edges. And so I've gotten out antique linen and tea dye, which tea dye is actually lighter than antique linen, I believe. And then I've gotten out, of course, the good old vintage photo. So I'm going to start with the lightest one and then work my way in. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take your 8.5 by 11. We're not going to use a manila folder. This is just my inking paper. And then you're going to fold it in half. Then you're going to put it on here on your inking paper, and you're just going to set it down. This is so we don't forget. If you don't do this and you ink around the edges, then you're probably going to get some on the other pages. And if you're doing like we are, which is a different topic or, you know, whatever every week, then you might not want the brown, you know what I mean, ink on the next pages, unless you're the kind of person that inks every page the same. But I digress. I don't normally do things kind of semi on the fly. You guys know me. I do have a list, but we'll see. So we're going to cut and ink the background paper. Now, when you print out your paper and then you trim it, and of course, it's lawnmower day, and Oz is going to bark like crazy. And I totally forgot. Let me trim that little extra white off. I may have to put you on hold for 10 minutes and then come back. Yeah, I think so. Okay, I'm going to put you guys on hold until the lawnmower guy gets done and my dog stops losing his mind. Okay? All right, I'll see you in just a second. Okay, the lawnmowers are far enough away right now that we can get some more done. I may have to put you on hold again. And I may have to put you on hold when I do some inking, so you don't have to watch me do that. So while we were on hold, I went through my 3 ink colors and I decided on antique linen, and that's halfway between tea dye, which is the lightest of the 3. I believe tea dye is probably the lightest of the browns, and then antique linen is this color here. So it's kind of a yellowish brown. That sounds gross, but it's not. It's like vintage photo, but it's quite a bit lighter. And then vintage photo is dark, and then there's a couple other ones that are really dark browns. Okay, so the reason I'm inking around this is because I don't want it to be white once I put this paper against it, because we're going to leave a little border. And in fact, that's what I was saying when I was getting ready to, when I had to put you on hold, is once you fold the page in half, I don't want this to go too far. Well, actually, I think we're all right. Anyway, once you cut your paper, it's going to be smaller than 8.5 by 11. So your page edge is going to show. And if you don't want it to be white, which in this case I don't because of the colors. And if you'll notice, I don't know if you can tell or not, but there's a bird in the sunflowers there. So this is the side we're going to use for the page. So, like I said, if you don't want a border, then you know what I mean. So now we want to measure, and we can eyeball it or cut to measure, measure to cut, cut to measure. I'm like Miss P. I can't get it straight either. All right, so you want to leave the little space on this side. It's already going to be there on the top and the bottom, so you want to kind of equal it out around the edges. So I'm going to leave that little bit of space. I'm going to make sure it's straight. Then I'm going to measure in just a little bit, so I've got my space on this side. I apologize to those of you who know how to do this exact part, but we're doing our tutorials as the how to do the page. So we're going to do the page, not just how to do the paper clip, I think. I'm setting a timer because, not because I am going to set a time on the video, but I've been having some issues, and so we are going to maybe cut this video in half. So I forgot to mention I used a brush to do this. I did not use my inker to do it. Sounds like the lawnmowers are getting closer. That will be interesting. Anyway, so I'm going to ink this now that I've got it cut, but I am going to use this. All right. After this commercial message, we'll be right back. Okay, we're back. I've given him something to eat and taken him outside and come back in. And so we may or may not meet Oz again. As we all know, that's my dog's name. During the video. Now, remember I had cut the page in half so that we could put it on here. I realized that when I was inking it during the break that there's a border around the page. So when I cut it in half, that made three-sided border on the page, and I decided I didn't like that. Fortunately, I had already printed out a spare page just in case. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the border off of both ends on top of trimming the white little edge off. And that way I have a border just on the top and the bottom. Now I'm going to mark it again. I'm just laughing because now the dogs upstairs are running around acting crazy. So maybe we'll get lucky and they'll start howling. Apartment life. So I'm going to remeasure this. We should get more of the birds as well. Now we're just measuring it for the width. Then, well, let's do the border all the way around, and we can do the width and the height together. Oh, the height is going to be correct. I should remember that from my own tutorial. Sorry about the first 10 minutes. Kind of a little crazy. Remember, your pencil mark has thickness. My friend Lisa mentioned that in one of her videos, and I realized it was true. I had already cut that way. But, you know, some people don't realize. And so, depending on where you draw your line, you may want to cut inside the pencil mark, through the middle of the pencil mark, or to the right of the pencil mark. Okay, good. Look, we got both birds in without cutting off his little head. Yay! Now, we're not going to glue that on yet. And we're going to keep this half. In fact, I'm going to use this half. Ah! Okay. So, going to need to ink this really quick. Won't take but just a second. Because I'm just lightly inking it. I'm not going to town on it. I just want to make a bit of a distinction, you know what I mean, around the edge. Plus it's darker, you know, around most of it anyway. All right. So now what we're going to do is we are going to I had it written out a certain way, and now I'm going to change my mind. We're going to set this aside for now, which was in the way I wrote it out. But then we're going to work on this. So what we're going to do, let me see. All right, we're not going to be able to make it quite as wide. So we're going to need to cut the border off on this side. We're going to make a pocket. We're going to make the pocket across the bottom, and we're going to make it the sunflower part. And this pocket across the bottom is going to blend in a lot. If it had gone all the way to the edge on both sides, it would have blended in more, but it's okay. I'm not going to ink it. I think I am going to ink it now that we're going to see the edges. I was going to try to make it a hidden pocket, but I'm going to ink the edges just a little bit. Like I said, you won't really be able to see it on the top or whatever, but I just want to knock the white off. Okay. It's always fun watching people ink, isn't it? But if you're going to do it live, and not cut the pieces out and ink them ahead of time, then you have to ink. Okay, so we're going to attach this pocket to the paper. Put your hand on the side that you want to have on up, facing up. Probably not a good idea to put the glue on it while it's laying on the page. See, just for that reason right there. Okay. We do want to line up the gold border with the gold border. And then let's make sure that it's centered. Okay. It still blends in quite a bit, just that little bit there. Okay. So there we've got that. So now this is actually the page. But we're going to go ahead and do the other parts. Now, we're going to make 2 writing cards. And this is going to be fairly straightforward. So we're going to measure the width of the pocket minus where it's glued. Okay. I'm going to make it about this wide. And then we're going to double check it before we, do anything else with it. Smidge snug. So I'm going to take a 1/16 off. Yeah, that fits in there nicely. Actually, let's take a smidge more off. We may have to trim a little bit off of the top as well. In fact, let's trim a little bit off the bottom since it's going to be in the pocket. This is a guesstimate. And this is how you do it. You just keep trimming it down a little bit at a time. You can always trim it down a little bit more. Make it a little bit shorter too. This is narrower quite a bit than I thought it was going to be. That's why kind of having difficulty with the size. There we go. Ta-da! All right. So now on the other side, when we go to make the other one, we can just mark it and we'll be able to cut it right out. Now this is going to be like what I'm talking about. When I make the mark here, it's going to be on the outside of the paper. So you're going to want to cut just on the inside of the line you make. Okay, same down here. So to get a better scrap, let's cut the length first. If I can see the line, oh, there it is. And then the width. I'm going to cut just inside the line. I'm going to save these. You never know. Now these are the same size. Now I'm going to take my corner rounder on these. You don't have to do this. This is optional. And now I'm going to ink these, but I'm not going to do it on camera. I'm not going to make you watch me, you know, ink 2 cards. That's kind of silly. Okay, so we'll have the corners all rounded. And the 2 cards are ready. We printed them on both sides. So we've got the lines on one side and the decorative on the other. So we can put them in, I'm going to put them in this way. And then the writing card part will be on the back. Okay. It's a little crooked. I'm going to wait till the glue dries as well, all the way. Now, I have a Brother Scan and Cut, and sometimes if the colors are real light, you'll get a kind of a miscut to where it kind of thinks you're supposed to, that you want it to cut out all the light part in the middle. There's probably a setting for that, but I just got mine a little over a week ago, and so I'm still working with it. So what I'm going to do, though, I inked it, and I'm going to use it as a fussy cut, and we're going to put it on the pocket above our border. Not sure I like that now that I put it up there. Especially because the flowers are growing. Oh, they're growing from both ways, so it doesn't really matter. You see, I don't really want to cover the border with that. What I wanted to do is have it stick up so that when we put the pockets in, it would be in front. So, you know, you can put a fussy cut here if you want. I haven't decided whether I'm going to use this or not, but I had it sitting there as an idea. Okay. So we've got these done. Oops. Except for inking them. And I have lightly inked the paper so we can take the cards out. We can glue this to here. Still using the Fabri-Tac. Make sure you got the side with the birdies on it. Well, the other side we cut up for the pocket anyway, didn't we? Oh, I was gluing down the edge, down from the top, because I was thinking I was gluing on the paper where we've got the, forgot to put a little extra on here than I usually do. I want the birds right side up. I want to put them on the page. The reason we put the pocket on with the page off of the signature page, I'm just pulling it up a little bit. And I'm pulling it up a little bit more. There we go. Now we can put the cards in. You're probably going, but we're supposed to be doing an altered paper clip. Now we're doing the altered paper clip to go on the page. We've got our 2 pieces of ephemera. We need a scrap piece of paper so that when we fold it in half, it's long enough to support the piece of ephemera, but it isn't so long that it sticks out. Okay? All you're going to do is take your, hold on, your little hole punch, and you're going to put it in halfway like you would a thumb pull in the center. And make a semicircle. Then that's where you're going to put your paper clip in. And that way, look, it goes all the way down and you don't see it. It's so cool. I got that this tip from Darcy. She has, her YouTube is Darcy's Adventures in Mixed Media, I believe is what it's called. Just look on our YouTube and Etsy Spotlight of the Week for the week before this week. And today is the 25th or the 26th, and today's not Friday. I'm videoing this ahead of time. But look for the week of the, I believe the 17th, and you will have the correct video to look, and it will have links to her YouTube and Etsy. All right. And this week, Kyung was featured, so make sure to check hers out. So now what we're going to do is we're going to use our art glitter glue, and we're going to glue this paper to one of these. You're not going to see it, so it doesn't have to be beautiful. It does, however, have to have extra glue around where the paper clip is, so that when it dries, it sticks the paper clip to the paper. Okay? Now, if you're doing one bigger piece and you're going to fold it over, then you need to do one side, not the whole, not all of the glue, but just one side with the gluing the paper clip to the paper, so that you can flip it over. And you know, when you fold the paper in half, I'm just saying, it's easier that way. I will make a different video on how to do that. So all you're going to do is stick this paper on, but you're going to want to make sure this happens to be printed on both sides. So, because when I use the rest of the cards, I'm going to want them to be printed on both sides. All I'm doing is putting you on hold to turn off my alarm. That's all I'm doing. Okay, so we've got our glue on here, and all we're going to do is stick this on here, just like that. Make sure you stick it really well. Try to stick it on there straight. And make sure it's kind of down from the top, unless you don't mind seeing the top. Like if this paper that you've used, this scrap paper, is yellow, and you don't mind people being able to see it a little bit. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing on this side. Oh, and I might want to mention, once it's glued, you're going to need to stick your finger up in between the paper clip and open it up a little bit, and I'll show you that in a second. I guess I could just show you. So we're going to glue this in here with extra glue around the paper clip. And you're gluing the paper around it on both sides as well, and the top. So we're just going to have to be careful with it for a few seconds, or if you know, this art glitter glue is really strong on paper and it dries pretty fast. Can't believe I got that pin in there. Now the main thing you want to do is make sure this didn't move. It did just a little bit. You want to line this up with this one, especially because it's got rounded corners and all that good stuff. So line them up together. Hold it down. Now, however far, I should have glued, let's see if I can still pull it apart. I should have glued this farther down, because, I'll tell you why. Because I want to be able to push it down on the paper better. So let me do that again. Glue it down just a little bit further. because this paper is a little long. So I'm gluing it down so that the white edge, the white paper, is closer to the bottom than it was before. I'm going to get my fingers all gluey. I'm going to put some glue on here again. And line it up and glue it on. See if I can glue it on correctly this time. I'm just winging it. If you have to, you can trim it a little bit, you know, to make it match up. I've got just a little bit off. I'm not used to the art glitter glue. I'm used to the Fabri-Tac or Fabrifix, where I've got time to kind of slide it just a little bit, which it doesn't look like, you know, I'm going to have time to do. Now, depending on how thick your paper is, that's why we're actually going to have a PDF for this video. If you don't use thick enough paper, you really see the paper clip through there. Okay? So now, you want to make sure to not glue these two papers together, because otherwise it can't slide down. So both of these papers are open. It's still really damp. You put your finger up in there to open the paper clip up a little bit. And then now I am not going to slide this over the page because I'm not going to do sunflowers on this side. And this paper is really damp, and so that's why it looks kind of wrinkly. But yours won't look like that. So then I'll be able to put this all the way down as far as the paper, top of the paper clip is. And so then we'll have the modified paper clip on there. And we'll be all good to go. So, and the reason the modified paper clip, this one is different, is that it's got the image on both sides. So she can use this on any page she wants. You could even put it down here if you wanted to as a decoration. And you can switch sides depending on what you want to see. Okay? And you can see how easily it goes on and off, and that's why you pull the paper clip apart just a little bit. With these anyway, they're really tight, the ones that I use. Okay, so that's my page for Kyung for this week. And next week, we will do the next page. And the week after that, we'll do the next one. And then when we get our signatures done, of course, I've only got, you know, I've got 5 pages folded in half, but I just don't have them all together here. All right, enough of the blathering on. I will see you next week on Friday, and that will be just a week for you and a day for me, because I'll record mine ahead of time. All right, I'll talk to you later. Okay, bye.